Chop chop. How's everyone? Today we're going to start the process of developing the designs for our chops. If you recall, chops are a small seal or emblem that represents you as the artist. In essence, we're creating a branding for you based on your full name, last name, first name, initials, signature, however you like, based on a font. So in this demo, I'm going to take you through the design development process of figuring out how you begin with your name and hopefully arrive at So today I'm going to bring you through the design process of how you... All right, let's just get started. The first thing you have to ask yourself before we get into all of the design is what kind of font you relate to most. Is it a serif, which is a thick and thin classic font that perhaps maybe appeals to more solitary and quiet activities? Are you more like a sans serif, which has one thickness and no serifs? It's more modern, more extroverted, more loud, catch your attention, and outgoing. Script, which is more handwritten. It's entirely unique, can't be duplicated by anybody else. Or display, which is more decorative. Maybe you're a combination of all of them. For me personally, being more introverted and traditional, I've begun my exploration with using a serif font. Here, using my last name and carrying it through of combining the D and the I and the P and following through like different options. Here we have an I with an open circle over it. Here, instead of the open circle, it's a D. And I arrive on this first path of logic towards a combination of an I and the D, which in that I see id. Id is the dark side of your personality, and where I hope and I think that I'm a gentle soul, I don't really want my chop to communicate a sense of darkness. So once you see those things happening, then you kind of change course. And in this changing of course, I'm using the letters of my last name to kind of create more of an abstract design. This is, I think, quite clearly an R, and it merges to create like the bowl of the lowercase d, which also duplicates as a P. There's an I there. D, I, P, sort of an E, R, R, I. And following that through, I arrive at the design that I ended up using in the first printmaking class that I taught here in 2022. Other options that I explored were my last name signature, simplifying that and boiling that down into another abstract design. For me, this was too abstract, didn't look like anything, didn't mean anything to me. Other options were full name and compressing the initials, the idea of like there's a punctuation on the middle initial and then there are two dots, which I thought is soft dots, whereas the J is more of a firm punctuation. So on some of these, the three dots there are represented as the strong punctuation on the middle initial and then the two dots on the I's as being open. Here, looking at it as buttons on a shirt. This to me ended up too complicated and I didn't end up exploring my last name. For this demo, I'm going to scrap all of my preconceived notions and try to come up with something that's fresh and new. So here I've already begun to explore like the combination of scripts and of serif font, and I arrive at a dead end. It's just too complicated. So whenever you reach a point where you're unsatisfied, you try something else. Here I'm trying to branch off of that again, and no pun intended, branch off. What I ended up with here was a design that I thought was pretty fluid. You could see me reminding myself of what my name is there. Like sometimes as you go off on these paths, you lose sight of what your mission is. But I ended up seeing in this two things that are not indicative at all of my interests or personality. Space and trees, like nature. It's not me. So that means it's time to change course. Back to the drawing board, playing around with the serif font again, and the idea of the open and closed dots. Here experimenting with a different sort of font that looks a little bit more from the 1920s, but it says die, and I don't want it to convey that either. So reminding myself of what does work here is possibly this 1920s font, and what if I take that and combine it with script, where it's like there are so many DePerrys in my family, but here it's a script, it's more personal. I got this exclamation point underneath, which is a fusion of the whole buttons idea that I discussed earlier, but there's a problem there too. This says no, like it's no with an exclamation point. I don't want it to say that either. So it's another dead end, but this is the process. You got to sift through as many creative ideas as you can to arrive at your proper solution. It's out there, you just have to find it. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in person, or you can email me, and you can always refer back to this video as necessary. All right, see you tomorrow.